Guys, and today I want to talk about who will the Memphis Grizzlies draft, and they have a few draft picks in this year's draft. The 29th pick, and they also have the 22nd pick in this year's draft. Let's get right into today's who they'll be drafted. I want to hear down below in the comment section, who do you think they should draft and why? Like and subscribe, do all that good jazz. And let's get right into it. I post over 100 videos a month on every single NBA team and everything in the NBA in between. Now, I got four guys that they could draft. Bryce Mcgowan, Jaden Hardy, Kendall Brown, and what? I'd say the other guy and Patrick Baldwin, yeah. Let's get right into it. So Patrick Baldwin, Kendall Brown is the two forwards, and then the two guards you could argue that I could see them debating between is Jaden Hardy and Bryce McGowan. So right now, I think Bryce McGowan's a 6'7" swingman. He can play the shooting guard or the small forward position. He's 19. He went to Nebraska. Had a little bit of an inefficient year. Jaden Hardy played for the G League Ignite. He had a really rough 2/3 of the season, but he closed out the final third of the season so well. And he's 19. They're both 19, but Jaden Hardy's 6'4" compared to Bryce McGowan's, who's 6'7". Now let's talk about Bryce McGowan's. McGowan's value as a prospect is all about what he could be, and it's not what he is currently. He was great to close the season at Nebraska, but he still didn't shoot the well besides having really solid shooting mechanics. He's skinny, but he tries to play a physical brand of basketball, which is something the Grizzlies love. He can create off the bounce at 6'7", but he's under 200 pounds. It might take some time for him early in his career as he works through the passing reads and also putting on weight on his frame to get stronger, but he's an interesting upside flyer for a team to take given his size as an on-ball player, not only on offense, but on defense because of his frame. And the Grizzlies are in a great place as a franchise, and they have a history of developing young players, and they have a few picks to be able to add to their core with upside swings. We saw what they did with Zaire Williams. Now, the more I go back and watch Hardy's tape, I'm obviously impressed how he played during the final third of the season. He may have one of the best handles in this class. He knocked down a higher percentage from three over his last month and a half than he did all season. He was more willing to make passing reads later in the season, something he was actually quite adept at when he chose to do it. And it's all about shot selection for Hardy. He has terrible shot selection right now. He needs to be willing to take better shots and play more within the confines of a team style and scheme. And he has to be willing to defend, something he does not show ever. He does not care to play defense. But this year's NBA postseason has shown how valuable these on-ball creators who can shoot and create for themselves are. And though Hardy's full season shooting numbers weren't elite because of his poor shot selection, I think he's a good shooter who will make them when he's open. Okay? And I really think they'll decide. If I had to choose for pick 22, I would take Bryce McGowan, just 6'7", under 200 pounds, with what is it, like a 6'10" wingspan. This guy is a two-way threat, and they have enough talent to let him develop for a year or two. I think it's just be perfect for them. And we've seen what they did with Santi Aldama. Now at 29, I think they'll choose between Patrick Baldwin Jr., who's a 6'9" with almost a 6'11" wingspan, 19 years old, but he's actually unathletic as fuck. If you guys saw the combine, he had like a 24-inch vertical or something like that. I think I jumped 24 inches. I probably don't, because if I did, I probably could dunk, but I can't dunk. So 6'1", I can't dunk. Sad. The other guy is Kendall Brown, 6'8", 19 years. Both of these guys are 19. One went to Wisconsin, Milwaukee. The other one went to Baylor. Let's talk about Patrick Baldwin. Patrick Baldwin's not a certainty to stay in this draft. Scouts have him all over the map. He had a nightmare freshman season at Milwaukee, and he averaged 12 points, 6 rebounds while shooting 34% from the field and 26% from three. That's just terrible. And a lot of people say it's circumstances. He's a non-shot creator who ended up having to be a shot creator for an offense too far and too regularly because they didn't have any good players. He'd have been much better off on a team where other players could have created shots for him, and he could use his amazing, pristine shooting mechanics to hit those open looks. Like, he didn't get many open opportunities. Per synergy, Baldwin took only 7 uncontested three-pointers this season in 11 games. Yes, that's a low number, but that low number exemplifies how much Milwaukee's point guards and, ball handlers sucked at creating for Patrick Baldwin. And there's plenty of people who are still interested in the man because he was a consensus top 5 recruit in the country. So, there's potential there, especially as a shooter. And then there's Kendall Brown. Kendall Brown had an outstanding start to the season, and a lot of people thought he was going to be a lottery pick because of his play both ends of the court. Jeremy Sohan ended up being the guy who's going to be a lottery pick. But his limitations on offense continue to pop over the course of the season. He's not particularly comfortable as a shooter, and he just isn't as comfortable as a ball handler in the half court. But he's extremely athletic with all sorts of twitch and vertical pop at 6'8", and he can defend in space at a very high level. He's big enough to go into the post even against some forwards. And he makes impact action plays to get out of transition regularly. And my bet is someone's going to take a flyer on his athleticism in the first round, given his defense is already really good. If he can learn how to shoot, he's an impact player. And when I sit here, I think they go Kendall Brown with pick 29. So at pick 22, they go Bryce Mcgowan, and then at pick 29, they go Kendall Brown over Patrick Baldwin. That just fits their read more, in my opinion. Let me hear your thoughts down below.